So I guess Listrak would be maybe my third venture, and I started a web hosting business in my dorm room, which became a application development business, which became an email marketing company. And I think a couple lessons that I've learned along the way is I think for me, I'm a very transparent person, and I think just being open and very honest with people has sort of helped me grow and sort of found the place where I am today. It's kind of part of my sort of secret sauce. I think just in terms of growing a business and how to grow a business, I decided to go the bootstrap model. Not to take anything away from the VC model, but I think if I could recommend any entrepreneurs out there that are thinking should I take some money and give up equity, I'd say buckle down and get the pencil out and start chewing on it and figuring out how you might be able to do it yourself, even if it means perhaps growing slower. I can't tell you how many guys I've run into that said, I wish I didn't take money. I wish I would have figured it out on my own. And start small if you have to, and you can always grow big and change the model or pricing at some other time. That's what we did. Getting the right people on the bus, and perhaps more importantly, getting the wrong people off the bus is absolutely critical. For me, I happened to get lucky, and I was 18 years old when I started the biz, and I knew a bunch of other guys who were very talented that were kind of in the same situation as me, and they didn't have any jobs, and they really didn't sort of weren't even interested in looking out in the broader world. And I knew these guys were talented and they could help me grow something. So I don't know what the heck I would do as a 35-year-old guy starting from scratch today and trying to hire guys that have families and mortgages and that type of stuff. We had it was a whole different, as you know, it's a whole different world when you're 21 years old. But cash is king. One of the things that we did early on with our web hosting business was try to align it that we had a reoccurring revenue. And all of my businesses, except the one that I've kind of been phasing out, which is the application development business, had some type of reoccurring revenue component to it. And I would submit to any young entrepreneurs to try to create a business model that has some type of reoccurring revenue, so you're not constantly fighting the up and downs of project-based business, which is very fulfilling, but difficult to really project your revenues and your cash flows, especially if you've got folks on the payroll. And then sometimes you have to make the hard decision to grow to the next level that new people might be needed. And you've got to have a very open conversation with some of the folks that have gotten you to a level that you need to invest to get to the next level. And sometimes growing pains are painful, but I think if everybody knows that you're working towards a shared vision and a shared goal, that everything really works out in the end. I think that hiring a dedicated salesperson is key. Hiring a good salesperson is key to any young entrepreneur that's trying to do everything. That you're sort of chief cook and bottle washer. But I think for any young entrepreneur, that I would really recommend that if you've got money to spend, it's in the beginning, it's much more important for you to spend it getting a salesperson than even doing marketing work. If you've got a guy that can be banging out some calls and making some appointments and getting it in front of some people, I think it's much more important than, say, advertising, for example.
So on that, what kind of questions did you ask the guy or all the candidates to figure out this is the guy who I can count on? What do you ask in interviews to kind of get to know that this is the right person?
Honestly, and we're a 50-person firm, so grew it from 1 to 50 over the past 10 years, and we're about 50%, quite honestly. In terms of success rates of people that that we hire, I think the resume is a great tool to use, but it doesn't tell everything. There's a common story. Bob, I hired you for your resume. Unfortunately, I got you. type of thing. And so we've actually been relying on some personality tests, like the Myers-Briggs type of thing. We actually use two. We use one called DISC, and we use another called CLUES. And that has really allowed us to get a kind of deeper understanding of kind of what makes the person tick. Because many times it's not the person themselves, but it's like the position that we put them in. We had a project manager who formerly worked on really big projects, like one really big project per year, and she went on a project where she had to do very small projects, a lot of different projects, and she was unhappy in that position. And it was only until we looked at her personality profile and say, oh my goodness, we've got her totally miscast.
So what did her personality profile say?
Her personality profile said that I don't like dealing with the small minutia of things. I like dealing with the larger, bigger picture, more strategy types of things. And she probably said that in the interview, and we're like, yeah, we got this thing to do, but now we'll never hire a salesperson without seeing that the person's an extrovert. If the person's not an extrovert, it doesn't even get past the phone to the phone screen. And those things are pretty cheap. You can get some online for a couple of bucks. So for anybody that's growing a business that doesn't have a large budget, asking a candidate to fill out a DISC profile online or a CLUES profile online, it's going to cost you, I don't know, maybe 25 bucks from somebody. So that's been a really good help for us in terms of finding the right people.
How about even tougher? Can you tell me a story about firing somebody? Like how quickly do you know, and then once you know, how quickly do you nip it in the bud and just say, you know what, let me talk to you at the end of the day, today's your last day, or how do you deal with that?
So I'm like the nicest guy in the world, which is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing. Most of my core team is still with me. I'm probably labeled a good guy. I'm not a real hard-headed dude. So I'll give people some chances, but I think sometimes right away. And it's like I said, it's quite possibly more important to get the wrong people off the bus than even getting the right people off the bus. We had a situation where we hired a guy that was going to help us get to the next level, and it was clear it just was not a good cultural fit. I learned a lot about our culture this year when we brought in somebody that was a bad cultural fit in an executive management position. So it's important to understand your company culture.
How would you define your culture?
So our culture is pretty loose. We're a pretty loose organization. We're pretty open. We're not militaristic. We're not. We're a get things done. We're a performance-based company. But we like to treat people with respect. If you've got somebody in who's if your company is run like the military, then you need to get some generals in there that also will run the place like the military. But if your company's not like that, and you bring in someone, it can really have ripple effects through the company. And it's just important to have an open, honest conversation with a person and tell them this just isn't working. And most likely they're thinking it as well. It's that quite possibly the snake's just as afraid of you as you are of him, type of thing.
So how did that conversation go? Did you say to that guy, hey, let's have a conversation? I think your style and the company culture are different.
Yeah, and it was a mutual thing. We came to a mutual agreement. Like, it's not working. And I'm not happy, and you're not happy, and let's just just part ways. But the good thing of the bad economy right now is that there's some good people out there that are looking for some neat opportunities right now. The bad news is there aren't a whole lot of orders to be fulfilled, but there's some good people out there right now, which is good for young folks, and maybe some good people that are willing to take a flyer on some young budding organizations. But if it was easy, everybody would do it. And it's there's new challenges around every corner. And I think what do they say, the great thing about running your own business is you only get to work half days, pick any 12 hours you want. You know, it's been a really ride of a lifetime for me. My father is a partner with me, which is a really, you know, some days it's a blessing and a curse type of thing, but it's a really fulfilling thing to work with my dad. He was a sniper in Vietnam. He built bridges. He was a bank executive. So he's got a lot of sort of wisdom, you know, to impart.
Is he your CFO?
Yeah, and which is a really great fit, you know, and you know, a lot of the stars align for our businesses. I'm kind of the chief geek, and he's he's like HR, CFO guy, and you know, I think where some technology companies falter is they're so tech heavy that they don't pay attention to the finances, or they don't pay attention to the HR piece, or they don't have somebody on board that really enjoys that type of thing. Dad enjoyed it as kind of the world that he came from banking, so it was a nice, you know, a nice fit there, and we complement each other pretty well. He's very risk adverse. I like to take risks, so it's like I'm standing on the gas, he's standing on the brake. The car spins around in circles, but it's made forward momentum. You know, at a clip of about 35%, you know, for the past 10 years. So, you know, we're doing okay.